Bump, bump, bump. All right. Hey, how are you?
Good to be here.
We pulled it off, didn't we?
We made it.
Oh, by the hair of our chinny chin chin. Just checking in real fast to make sure everybody can hear us. I should probably turn that off. Wow, that's so loud. Yep. Rookie mistakes every time. Okay. Anyway, apparently they can hear us.
Excellent.
Loud and clear. So everybody,
Welcome.
thank you very much. Welcome to the warehouse. Welcome to where all the magic happens. This is the 6th episode of the Curmudgeon's Corner. Unbelievably lucky to have my very good friend Brian in the warehouse today. He's been coming down here every other week for a couple of months now, for a while.
It's like a second home.
Yeah, we're always tinkering and playing. Everybody, you have this man to thank for Hydra, the way that Hydra performs the way it is, and it's only because he was down here when we were. I should say I was disappointed in a certain review from a certain person who likes to clean things with foam, and we decided to go back to the drawing board and well, not entirely. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We just tinkered with what we had, and now we have magic in a bottle. So anyway, this is Brian Spitler, Apex Auto Detailing, also Apex Surface Protection, man of many talents and abilities. Probably one of the hardest working guys I know in the industry.
I'm just a detailer in the trenches on a daily basis, like all your wonderful viewers and subscribers. Nothing special here. Just cheers, guys.
Apple juice is ready. B, thanks for being here. I think I've seen you do one interview since I've been following you.
That could be.
Oh, except for the one that you were actually on the radio station.
That's right.
You were interviewed on a radio station.
ESPN 610, Philadelphia.
That's amazing.
I mean, it was fun. That was a great experience.
Yeah.
Walking in while the 76er greats are walking out.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get.
Did they have a great setup like this where we have, a couple of pieces of wood and a microphone?
It was a desk with a couple boom mics, and that was about it. With the engineers behind you, nothing really that special.
Awesome. So we got Humberto first from Puerto Rico in the house. We have Tim in the house. Papa Smurf is in the house. Keith Firebird, fantastic. Cat Guy, awesome. Good to see you guys. Hopefully, you know what? I think we're going to see a lot of those guys down at the Southern Detailers Convention.
And I hope so.
Pretty sure that's coming up soon, isn't it?
Yes, very soon.
I think if I carry the one this time next week, we'll be heading down there.
That's right.
That's fantastic.
I really do hope to see a bunch of you down there. I got to meet and talk to a bunch at Chicago here recently.
Yeah.
There's nothing that beats that. When I got the channel started, making connections, which, with all these wonderful people out here and people you meet throughout the country, there's nothing that can match that. It's a great feeling. It's connections you keep for a lifetime. Friendship.
Has there ever been an aha moment for you where it was like, I didn't realize that you were a fan, but you knew that person already? Could be another detailer, could be somebody else in the influencing world. But have you ever had that moment where, Jean-Luc Picard walks up to you and was like, "Oh, I love your stuff," and you're like, "Wow, that guy digs my stuff."
Yeah, anybody really that comes up and is a fan. I'm surprised and humbled by it, and I appreciate each and every one of them. I really do. I don't take them for granted. The connection again, and the friendship, and being part of a family, the Apex family. Let me turn that off. Really means a lot to me. I truly enjoy it.
If you don't mind me diving deep into the well, one of the things that I like to try to do here in the Curmudgeon's Corner, just because it's really near and dear to me, being a small business and the struggles of being a small business, those are some of the things I'd like to talk to the audience about. How long have you been doing Apex Auto Detail?
Well, I started detailing in the late 80s, 88 to be exact, to pay for insurance for my first vehicle. I was attached to a body shop, and we cleaned up cars that came through after Bondo and paint and overspray and tape marks and run marks and dust nibs, all that. That's when you needed to to master the rotary and wet sanding, or you didn't have a job.
Okay.
That's the only two tools we had besides cleaning products.
It was like a big round machine that had handles on the
About
sides.
20 some pounds. It was the size of an E-ray, and yeah, it was a beast.
Wow.
You know, 2-foot cord, normally with bare wires that were shocking you. The compound was a bucket laying on the ground with a rag hanging out of it. You would just slap it in there, throw the compound on the car, and buff away, or wet sand. But the Apex Auto Detail, I've spent a couple years at different locations, broken up.
Okay.
4.5 years at the last location, and anybody following the channel could see that progression.
Right. I think that's where I tried to find you the first time around. Where you were in your, I thought you were at your old, like it was like a mechanic shop or whatnot, a mechanic shop, and that you had a detailing section in there. And
Yep.
then when I went looking for you, they were like, "Oh, he has his own place now, way down in Warnersville."
Yeah, we moved into a 6-bay with a couple lifts, and that was an experience. That was a nice large retail center, but in our area, nobody wanted to work, so I was the one that ended up being there till 11:30, 12 at night, finishing out the schedule that I made. That, you know, either one or another didn't show up for, or had to leave early, or called off sick, or you name it. So
you had mentioned that was probably now that you're on the other side of it, where you have you're basically your own little empire. You had said that was one of the harder things as a business owner, was employee retention. Like, you would teach them, you know all of your tricks of the trade, and then they would just disappear. They'd start their own thing, or they'd just wander off and not come to work one day.
yeah, and that's the risk you take when you train somebody. Are they going to stick with you? Or are they going to leave and take off and do their own thing? And I was happy for them, and I supported them afterwards. But you train somebody to fill a position in your shop, and then it's hard to start all over again.
Sure.
So that's when I moved out of that larger shop to a smaller, more cozy shop for my son and I.
Mm-hmm.
And now, of course, we're outgrowing that again. And
which we can all tell by your last video. Yeah. So fantastic. It's fantastic how well you're doing.
Wow.
Doing fantastic. And you have a really decent crew. Your son and the 3 Bs, the 3 killer bees.
Part-timers that are really great. But the two Brians that I have are just wonderful kids,
right,
on their own right. Just great kids. And I'm happy to support them in any way I can.
Right, looks like Platinum Autoglass. Chris, I always mess up his last name. Simich, I think is how you pronounce it. From Canada. He started when you started back in '88.
Yep. Good year.
Yeah.
The 80s.
The 80s. Yeah, we were just talking about. I don't know if you know this, but this gentleman here, he is a man of the 80s, and it's fantastic because I was a kid in the 80s, and I eat up anything 80s, and he just blew my mind that Blade Runner and Aliens, the movie Aliens with Sigourney Weaver, they're connected, and I had no idea that they were connected. Like, the corporations are related.
Wayland absorbed Terrell. Well, it's a big geeky thing that I love.
So what? I love it too. We can geek out for hours, Brian, which is probably why we hang out so much. Birds of a feather and all that. And we're going to do all that even more so in Kentucky next week. We got all 4 horsemen coming in to the Southern Details Conference, and everybody who's watching, anybody is going to be down there, and you can talk geek with the man himself.
So yeah, let's get back on that. Do you know the schedule of events, and how's that going to go?
Yeah, so I'm actually learning more and more about it every day. This is my first time going down there. Apparently the show is growing, so we're still technically, hopefully, getting in on the ground floor, but we're going to be driving in on Wednesday. The booth setup is Thursday. The show is actually Friday and Saturday. The actual hours of the show is noon to 5. So 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Now, is Louisville an hour behind us? Is that considered? That's not East Coast still, no? No, because I have a friend who lives in Nashville, and he's an hour behind. So I would imagine it's an hour behind.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, so whatever that time zone is, not quite Eastern, but Central. So it's 12 noon to 5 p.m. Is when the actual show, but they're actually doing an educationals Friday and Saturday. So we signed up for 2 educationals, one at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., where the Southern Detailers Conference is actually providing us with a car. And we're going to do paint correction using the Papa Cut and the fabulous finishing polish, a DA, and a bunch of different pads so that you guys can actually see the geniuses at work. My mentor at work, I always refer to you. We're going to get back to this in a second. I always refer to you as my mentor, my Yoda. And this gentleman has never watched Star Wars. So how much of an 80s guy is he? I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, Star Wars. Anyway.
No thanks.
So we're going to do paint correction on Friday at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. And then we're going to do on Saturday, we have 2 more educationals at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. All of this is at the Expo Center, and we're going to do ceramic installs.
So the visitors can come in, get involved, and
correct.
Ask questions.
Absolutely. And then at the show, we're going to set up a hood, the hood that we just got. We're going to set that up, and we'll be doing demos and stuff like that. So
like
you can
workshop.
Workshop. And I really listening to you and your experiences at Chicago, and then a few years back when you did the turtle wax thing down in Arizona, and you had said that how much people really, really appreciated and enjoyed you being able to do a demo was really the inspiration to get. I just got the hood yesterday or 2 days ago from Jersey Auto Body here in New Jersey. Jamie is the owner. He has been a friend of mine for many, 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 many years. And every time and anytime I've needed a panel to work on, he's like, pick it out of the pile. So
yeah, Turtle Wax did another thing in Chicago, and they had a booth set up, and I was out there for 2 or 3 days straight on a panel. And hopefully this is the same way where you can come up to me, ask questions, participate, and ask me to do whatever you want or show you whatever you want.
Autographs, selfies, all that stuff. That. All the fanboy stuff that we're all geeking out about. I know Eric's geeking out about it. I can't wait. Miller Detailing's in the house. Shine Your Lights in the house. Cool. Brian Cal 77's in the house. Dandy Crane, he's in the house. That's awesome. Appreciate you guys coming out. If you have any questions about the Southern Detailers Conference, you can give me. You can send me an email or a text message. Info at Phoenix E.O.D. It'll eventually get to me. They'll pass it on if they don't know the answers to it. So then after that, what else have we got going on? So that's Saturday. That's Friday and Saturday. Phil Miranda won't be there until Saturday though. He's tying this. He's doing me a real personal favor, solid. But he's tying this into his vacation. They're doing a bunch of off-roading and quad running and stuff like that. So he's going to come in on Saturday. And then hopefully we're going to do kind of like not necessarily an after party, but I've asked Tim. I've actually asked Tim to his brother lives in Louisville, and asked him to review some places that we can go to that might be able to accommodate a larger crowd. But I'm not going to say anything more than that on YouTube. You have to come to the booth and find out where we're going to be if you want to be a part of it.
I would love to see everybody there.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a good time. Just nice, casual. I think that was the allure of what really got me into doing this the way that I'm doing it, is that it's really a community, and it's like almost like a fellowship, if you will.
It is. It's a brotherhood. We have the same common interests and the passion to keep our cars looking fantastic, and products. Some of us are product junkies.
Sure.
Some more than others.
So let me ask you, can I ask you a question about that?
Absolutely.
Relatively speaking, recently you got into PPF. I mean, you've been doing it for a little while now, but I mean, it's pretty new to the scene.
It has now taken over to about 75% of the work we do at the shop.
And so what are the advantages to PPF versus your traditional coatings and things of that nature?
It does a fantastic job with rock chips and real hard abrasion and carts and doors opening up. As long as it's something that's not denting the panel, PPF, depending on how thick it is, 8 to 11 mils generally, can absorb it, can put up with that type of abuse. So, yeah, and the new stuff with the non-yellowing, 10, 11, and 12-year warranties can really hold up. And customers in our area have been eating it up.
The third Brian, he tells me that there's like self-healing properties to that. What is that all about?
So we have tried many films in the industry, from Expel to Stack to Premium Shield to some of the cheaper Chinese versions, and they're all similar. They're not too much of a variance, but there's difference between the look, the adhesive, its ability to last on a car and take abuse, its non-yellowing properties, and Stack has the perfect balance of all of those throughout the films, and that's why we settled with them, and it does a fantastic job.
I think one of the coolest things that I've seen being in your shop is you have that computer and the machine that you type in the make and model, and it creates that pattern for you, which is just, I mean, mind-boggling, the technology that has come. And I have another detailing guy that I work with and ask questions when it comes to when we're researching products and product development, and he was really down on the PPF, and then again going talking to both your guys, and just the technology, how it's advanced in just a couple of years even.
Yeah, the plotter and then the software within, we use Core, you can adjust those patterns. So we do half bulk, which means we pull it off a roll, cut it, and do everything custom, and roll the edges ourselves, cut our corners. Or we use the plotter maybe on bumpers and some other smaller areas, and then we tweak the pattern that they give us to blow it up, to wrap around. And like you mentioned, there's self-healing qualities with the film. If you get a light scratch or a mar, you pull it out in the sun or get your hairdryer out and go over it with heat, and it disappears. Now, that only lasts the first 3 or 4 years, to be completely honest.
Okay.
And then the rest of that time, you don't have that characteristic. It fades. But there's also a ceramic coating built within that top layer.
Okay.
Well. So,
really, so it has that. It has the UV protection and all of that stuff that you would expect out of something different. But
yeah. And just for everybody out there to keep in mind, the coatings and the PPF, they are limited when it comes to UVA, UVB protection. There's protection there. But some of these products are being over marketed, and it really bugs me when I see that, within the industry.
Sure. And you said it's now 70% of your business, so that you're basically the other stuff, the coatings are kind of taking a backseat to.
Yeah, it's in tandem.
Right.
If they get film, they're going to get a coating for the rest of the vehicle, because only 2% will get a full body coverage film wrap on their vehicle, and the rest gets coated.
Okay. So they're basically hand in hand. They work together.
They do.
That's fantastic. Team. Yeah, that's awesome. I know that you and I have joked often that one day when I get my truck, I'm gonna have the works done by you. So
yeah, and by the works, protect your vehicle from things flying at you from ahead of you, vehicles ahead of you, and then from your own vehicle, your tires.
Okay.
So there's something called the track pack. That's everything on the front clip from the windshield forward, and then your lower rockers, lower doors, and then maybe a little bit around the back.
Okay.
That's all you need, and then coat the rest.
Awesome. All right, so kind of to switch gears and backtrack a little bit. I know that there's a couple of guys and gals in our audience currently right now that are just getting started. They haven't fully committed to a full-time detailed occupation. Doing bits and pieces on the side. What would you say, reflecting back on all of this journey that you've been on, and then I would say probably more like in coming into your shop that you're currently at right now, what would you say have been the biggest challenges for you? Like the biggest, for lack of a better terminology, the barrier of entry to get into this profession?
Well, the best thing I can do is offer advice, and it's straightforward. at first, keep it simple. Keep it simple and fill out your schedule. So if you're part-time, if you're mobile guys, always the objective, the next step is to find a shop, then move into a shop. And that's great. But, mobile starting out, part-time, just a few hours a week or weekends, pick out something simple to start with, like an interior cleaning or just a bumper to bumper, which is a cleaning interior. Now, so you got decon and then clean the interior. So your wash, your clay, your iron remover, do the interior, fill out your schedule with those. And once you have a schedule filled with those and you're bringing in income and you can start returning and putting that money back into your business, then move up to the next natural step. Add a one step and a sealant maybe to those packages.
Okay.
So you're doing your interior, full interior, then you're doing a wash and decon, and maybe just an enhancement with a polisher. An entry-level polisher like the Griot's machines. There's many fine machines out there to start with.
Right.
With just an 8mm throw, where you're not going to get in trouble on the edges or on the peaks and body lines, and do an enhancement. You get around the vehicle quickly and put a sealant on there or even a wax. And then when you fill your calendar out with those, you just keep stepping up and going to the next step and filling out your calendar with those. So the next progression is going to be a multi-step correction maybe, or a one-step, and then add coatings to your arsenal.
Okay.
You can do coatings mobile. I know a lot of successful mobile detailers that add coatings
Sure.
to their...
Yo, Tim from Shiny Light Detailing. He's one of my. I lean on him for data, and he is a mobile guy, and he's in the unforgiving heat and humidity of South Carolina, and he loves Kronos, and he says he does a lot of coatings. So you're right, it's 100% doable.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. When you have products such as Phoenix, it makes it easy for the installer.
Sure.
So there's more options then. But keeping it simple, filling out your calendar, and then flushing those out for the next step, and not getting ahead of yourself, and blowing past your overhead is the most important advice that you give.
Sure. I think I know for a fact that you'd said that to my wife, and she tells me that all the time. Remember what Brian said: keep it simple, keep it small at first. Keep it simple and keep it small. And like, especially when trying new products, introducing new products instead of buying totes and totes and totes of chemicals. Keep it small, keep it simple, see how they like it, and then go with more.
If I had only listened to my own advice when it comes to that at first,
Yeah.
I'm a glutton for trying something new. So
Sure.
I always had shelves full of the stuff.
Well, I think that also brings me to the next segment, which would be, when I first started Phoenix, and you were truly not just an inspiration, but a motivation to do Phoenix. I remember for years you've been telling me, when are you going to do it yourself? When are you going to do it yourself? And if you do it, I will help you in every way, shape, or form, including putting my products on your website, on your product website. And I get questions all the time, like, why would he do that? Why would he do that? A, I think it's a friendship thing, but B, you also said, and this is so true, there's enough for everybody to go around.
Well, not only that, I'm comfortable with my product line, and I know what it can do. I'm confident with it, but I'm not the only one out there. I know there's other products that individuals out there want to try and enjoy, and I respect that. I really do. And when there's quality products such as yours out there, and some other ones, I'm not only going to support them, I will put, I often get asked, how can I do videos on other products now that I have my product line? I don't know any other way. I mean, that's just how I am.
Sure. Well, if you don't mind me indulging me for just 1 second, I'd like to talk about your product line. One good turn deserves another. And so let's talk about your product line. I know just recently, in like this month, right? You introduced BC5, Blue Collar 5. Let's talk about your product line. Let's start with 1 and go through the numbers.
Well, yeah, we have 5 in the family. The first one was the BC3, which was the it's the do-it-all detailer booster.
Sure.
So that is an easy-to-use product. All my products can be used in direct sunlight. Easy to use, great for beginners, and that's what I had in mind. it's what I designed for our guys to use at the shop,
Right.
and then made it available for those that they asked outside of the shop.
Mhm.
And that's where this all started. So it was formulated by detailers for detailers in our shop, and I just let it go for anybody
Sure.
outside.
And what was the big, like, what was your motivation from moving into your own private line versus what you had that metal oxide before?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cooperative with Art to Shine.
Okay.
And that product line had a lot to do with the metal oxide, which was great because that's what the Middle Eastern countries were using for heat disbursement and helping with the sun's harmful rays. And it did a great job. But with that cooperative, plus trying all the products out there that are available, I liked the flavors out there, but there was never anything put together quite the way I wanted it.
Right.
That's how it started.
Okay. Good. All right. So we did BC1, BC3, then came, I would say 1 and 2 came kind of tandem together.
Yeah, those are the professional, more concentrated coatings is the best way to put it.
Okay.
So blue collar 1 is a 3 to 5 year, and that's applied with an applicator, and then BC2 is a spray coating, a year spray coating.
All right.
And then 4 to 5 are for glass.
Okay.
And many more to come.
And how does that work? What like why would you? I get asked the questions a lot about can you use Titan on glass? Can you use
Yes.
Kronos on glass?
Absolutely, you can. But when it comes to durability, if you want to get the most out of the product, it has to be made for the substrate you're putting it on.
Sure.
Made for clear coat. Clear coat is just a little bit different than glass.
Sure.
And if you have products made for those substrates, you'll get the most out of them, especially if you put the time of prep into it.
If I may pull back the curtain and expose the wizard for a second.
Anytime.
When you and I were testing it, we tested it on my Pathfinder out there, and there is a noticeable night and day difference between the two, and I would say that it's not so noticeable as far as like hydrophobic properties or things of that nature.
No, and before we go any further, that's one thing I need to make another video and get that across. When I was formulating these, I didn't want these to be the most hydrophobic, showy coatings, as you're just seeing watch rain fall down on them, or I didn't want it something where you turn the wind with wipers off at 10 miles an hour and it flies up. I wanted these two products, BC4 to 5, to team up with your wipers, clear the windshield during terrible weather.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I drove home after you applied it to my windshield. I drove home to my parents who live north of Pittsburgh. And we take I-80, and I-80 crosses through the Appalachians and the Poconos.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, mile marker 111 is the highest point on I-80 this side of the Mississippi. So chances are you're going to hit some sort of inclement weather. And we were coming through, and I mean, God was angry, and it came down hard. And the ability to get it off the windshield was because you did the driver's side and you left the passenger side untreated so that we had a comparison, and it cleared the driver's side immediately. If you and this is why I'm thinking like I'm gonna probably ride your coattails and follow you down that path for get your secret sauce to get that glass coating. But you know how like the windshield wipers will skip on an untreated window. I noticed that like this side will skip right, and so it's every time it skips, it's actually bouncing off of the windshield and it's leaving that water behind, and then it clears it on the back pass. So you have the skipping and then the clearing of the back pass and the skipping and the clearing, and so like that extra second to 2 seconds of just kind of visual impairment, it's terrifying. If you've ever been in a storm, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And the fact that I was able to clear it in one pass, it was, you might not need it every single day, but when you do need it,
yeah, I wanted you to be able
so
to drive
grateful
through
that you have it.
rain, sleet, and snow in the same trip if needed, and then have it team up with the wipers and be cleared quickly so you can drively get safely drive to where you need to go and arrive
Yeah,
to your
and
family
it hit
in
that
one
mark
piece.
perfect. I mean, like my dad would say, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And I had it, and I was grateful to have it because it's unforgiving up in those mountains, and it
And
cleared
another
it.
thing I wanted it to do was get along with all the different types and makes of wiper blades out there. And I tested it with quite a few.
Okay.
I didn't get to test it with all of them out there, so there may be one or two it doesn't get along with. But for the most part, it's a nice smooth ride across the glass with all of the wipers I've tested it.
Yeah,
with, so.
I was grateful to have it, and I mean, it was a test subject, so awesome. So then, so BC5? I know this is such a taboo question because I get it all the time. I remember we just launched Furies on a Friday, and on Sunday, people were saying, "So what's next for Phoenix?" And you're just like, "Come on, man, give me a month to enjoy the launch of Furies." But no, it was 3 days. Launched on a Friday. On Sunday, I was asking, "So what's next?"
It's just like when a team wins the Super Bowl. That next day, the coach is preparing the team for the next season.
So what's BC6?
It's going to be one of many things: tire coating, leather coating, an industrial coating, high temp rim coating, maybe a longer term ceramic coating. I'm going to stay within the protectants. I do want to do more polymer sealants.
Okay.
Ceramics are great. Polysiloxane is great, but your cross-linking polymers are still fantastic.
Sure.
Hell yeah, they're still great.
Yeah,
so,
I know that it's considered old school, but I think gloss and wax is just incredible. I love gloss and wax.
It is.
And again, my product line was definitely designed for the people that maybe don't have that kind of ability to do what you do. But speaking from experience, I was able to detail a car and make it look really, really good with limited I mean, I have the technical knowledge, but the actual physical knowledge are two different things. I remember going through EMT school, and they're like, book smarts versus street smarts are two different things, and they're 1000% correct. And so you can watch a lot of YouTube videos, and you can watch as many episodes as you want, but
YouTube certified.
And yeah, you're YouTube certified, but until you've actually gone out there and done it, it can still be really intimidating. And I think that was really the drive behind, Papa Cut and Fab Polish and Gloss and Wax was that, the weekend warrior, the village idiot could use it and do a really, really good job. And as well as, the mighty professionals such as yourself, because I know you guys use a lot of my stuff in your shop, and I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Yep, for a reason. How about a little bit of a pause and answer some questions? I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to hear from the audience.
All right, so we're opening up the phone lines right now to ask Brian any kind of questions that you want. I do have a shout out from Tim from Shine Your Light Detailing. He recently took. We were playing around with names. I call it Clash of the Titans. He took the Furies and Kraken.
Yeah.
And mixed them together, and he said it's one of the best wheel and tire cleaners he's ever used.
Yeah, it's lethal.
So that's really, really fun. So, all right. So anyway, let me scroll through here real fast. Repost your question if I missed it, but we'd like to take some questions at this time. I'm still at work. Should probably hit up the beer fridge. Yes, Dee Dee, you should.
Well, I have a question for you then. In the meantime, what is what's in the horizon for Phoenix E.O.D?
What's in the well? I mean, I got to get past next week, right? First and foremost, I have this wall of things that need to be addressed, and I just kind of keep pushing it off until I feel like I can't breathe until I get done with the SDC. I'm really excited about it. I mean, as you know, I'm bringing in all 4 horsemen. I think that isn't it. It's kind of a twofold thing. One, yeah, you could call it a publicity stunt. I remember when I first came on the scene, there was somebody that was posting on all of Eric Papa Smurf's videos where it was like, oh, that was a real slick marketing ploy to get these YouTube influencers involved in your company. And yeah, it is a marketing stroke of genius, but the how it came about. It came about through friendships. It came about through the relationships that you and I had built over the last 7 years.
So how long is this? How long are we into with your venture? With
It'll be the 4th of July. We consider the 4th of July to be our birthday, just like America. So it'll be 2 years. It'll be 2 years, right? And we're already in this ginormous warehouse. In less than 2 years, we've already expanded twice, and we're thinking about, hey, I think we're gonna have to grow again here very shortly. So to answer your question, we got to get to the SDC. After that, I currently have inbound to me. I have a bunch of raw materials, a couple of drums of raw materials that I think we're going to be playing around with. 2 new versions of some stuff coming in, probably a glass cleaner, maybe a panel prep.
I would look forward to the panel prep. Honestly, right. I don't know about these guys out here, but
well, and again, it comes from my E.O.D, my mentor, my counsel, you, Brian. You had said you need bookends. You need bookends for your ceramic line. So we're going to probably work on the panel prep and a true polyxylazane maintenance spray. I mean, yes, you can use Titan and all of, and the SiO2s and the silicon dioxides and silicones and things of that nature. But to basically to truly do it right, we're going to do the bookends like you suggested.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that panel prep, and we're going to do the maintenance spray. The chemistry behind panel preps and glass cleaners are very similar. It's more of like a percentage dilution ratios of the raws, and
they could keep their glass cleaners. For me, it's Hydra.
Yeah, it's amazing. When you showed that video, I was blown away, and I tell everybody now. I was like, he said it. He said he could use it as a glass cleaner, and it works. I tried it. It works. He wasn't lying.
Yeah, it's fantastic. No streaks.
No streaks.
Clean that up with a hot towel, and you got it made.
All right, let's do this. Let's do the questions. I know they're in there. What's up, Keith? Nope. Fred, that's not a question. Ryan, nope, not a question. Yes, panel prep. Tim, thank you, but not. Can you get a tour of the warehouse? Not in this session, only because the camera is mounted to my computer. But in later sessions, you probably certainly. I don't know. The answer is I don't know if I can do a warehouse tour, and the reason for that is one of the things that I've done to keep the lights on during the slow session, the slow season of like November, December, January, February, when the world's under a blanket of snow. The northern hemisphere is under a blanket of snow. I don't want to
only the lucky ones down.
I don't want to be too egocentrical. It's considered the slow season. What I've done is I do 3PL. It stands for third party logistics, which basically means other companies can send me their products, and it doesn't have to be chemicals. It could be anything. And I package it and ship it, for Amazon, for other distributors around the world, the globe. I know I distribute, I build cases of stuff for the United Kingdom and for Canada and things of that nature. So, and those companies, the reason why I say it's those companies might be sensitive to whether or not they want the world to know that somebody else is packaging their stuff and shipping their stuff. So the answer is I'd like to show you a tour of the warehouse, but I can definitely like zoom in on the Phoenix areas of the warehouse and show you how
show you the floor,
show you the struts on the ceiling. Those are always nice. No, but I have really cool filling machines. I have really cool labeling and boxing, and I have this bagging machine out there that basically it's for Amazon, because Amazon require anytime there's like multiple pieces to a product, if you're selling a toy and it has a hammer and whatever, it has to go in a bag so that the warehouse, as my stepson affectionately calls it, the warehouse rats that are doing all the hard work for the bosses that are just sitting in the office in the air conditioning. So the warehouse rats they don't have to think about putting pieces together. Everything is in one bag. So all they have to do is grab the bag. And because Titan and Hydra and Immortal and basically all the stuff that requires a trigger that I sell on Amazon, it requires a bag. There's cool bagging machine out there that basically it feeds the bag, puffs out a puff of air that opens the bag. You drop it in there, it seals the bag, and then it drops it into a shop manager. Yeah, and then it drops it into the box. It is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That makes it too easy.
It's right? So easy.
Yeah.
We with the new machinery that we have, we ramped up from 2,000 bottles a week to 2,000 bottles a day.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's unbelievable. We had that 4,000 bottle order for Amazon. Did it in 2 days. It's crazy.
That's definitely quicker than me putting a label on one and filling it and putting a cap on one.
It's got. My wife named it Betsy, and we have a cow magnet that's on the filling machine because it's got like these udders, and you shove the bottles onto the udders. It fills the bottles in like 5 seconds. It fills a pint. Boom, boom, fills the bottles. And by the time you put the last bottle on the udder, the first two bottles are ready to come off. And it's that fast. It's just boom, 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 take off, boom.
Well, congratulations.
Boom. Thank you. And then from there, it goes to the capping machine. It's like a little magic wand, and it screws the caps right onto the bottle. And then it's got a heating machine that basically you stamp the cap, and it seals the cap to the bottle. So that like when you get medicine, when you buy aspirin at Walmart, and you take the cap off, and it's got that metal foil seal. It does that. The whole process is seconds.
Automated.
Yeah.
Good for you.
2 people can basically run an empire if you needed it. It's pretty wild. I figured if I had a full-time crew of 5 people, and me just standing around, critiquing and being a dick, there isn't anything I couldn't do. Anyway, I can't believe that we're divulging this live. Anyway, do you put PPF or Carplex on glass roofs?
Yeah, you could put it on any substrate that is smooth and hard. Anything from carbon fiber to plexiglass to glass to painted surfaces. Absolutely anything that's hard and smooth.
Okay. What is your ratio? I'm trying to find it up here. What is your ratio for Hydra when using it as a glass cleaner?
That is going to be it's diluted, so it's going to be about 20 or 30 to 1. If you have a 32-ounce spray bottle, the spray bottle will come up and have that lip on the bottom there, and I normally fill it up to there and the rest water. So it's a very weak ratio, and you don't need a lot.
Just a touch.
Just team that up with a hot towel, and that's
okay. I got a couple of really good questions in here.
They're all great.
How many hours does the shop manager put in, Brian?
She's there from when we open until we close, and she is a trooper.
All right. What is your favorite cordless polisher at the moment?
Still the Shine Mate. I did pick up the new Harbor Freight polisher, the one that mimics the 3401. That is, with the coupon under $100 now. So stay tuned for a review on that. That is that force-driven polisher. So it oscillates and rotates forced. I've never been a huge fan of those. I'm anxious to see if this one spins clockwise or counterclockwise like the Flex. But to answer the question, the Shine Mate EX620, I believe it is still my favorite.
Okay.
Just to be completely transparent, sure. Not as smooth, not as refined and Cadillac-like your Rupes polishers would be, but getting there, very close. And their quality is still decent. Unlike Max Shine that I was in favor of for about 2 years until it seems like their quality control unit was, I don't know, executed or let out to March. Who knows? You would have one that lasts and one that falls apart within a couple of weeks. But Shine Mate has been very consistent for me.
Do you have any plans for coming out with an interior, like any interior products, including an interior dressing?
So for me, when it comes to interior, I protect it and then we clean it with a weak version of a rinseless wash or just water. So
Right.
we'll coat everything. So I'm going to have a coating for leather and plastics, any hard material in the interior, and then we'll have a separate coating for your upholstery, your carpeting and your rug,
Mhm.
anything upholstery like that. So I'll have a coating for everything in there. And then once it's coated, you just take care of it with a rinseless wash, and that's going to be Hydra.
Cool. Well, there you go. There's BC 789.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't see. I think that's. Um, yeah. When will the new sheeter formula for the BC line will? When will the new sheeter formula for the BC line?
They're probably eagerly waiting something that sheets with
Yeah,
the
they said
product.
like it did with the Apex coating.
Yeah. So that is something I'm going to have to bring out on its own. There will be nothing I can come out with that we can top BC1 or BC2 with that will change it from strictly beading to sheeting. The metal oxide coating was far enough up and down the scale that it did both.
Hmm.
The BC line so far has been strictly a beading product.
Right.
So I'll come out with a separate coating and then a topper to go with it that strictly sheets, and then you could pick one or the other.
Okay. Um,
Sheeting, by the way, is important, and I don't think there's anything more important. It's still a hard sell. It's still only a small percentage out there that truly get that. I'm trying. It's really a hard sell. People just are so enamored with the beads. It's like Mardi Gras.
right. Yeah, for sure. All right. So we got there's two different questions, but they're going to come in rapid succession. Dee Dee says that she wants to give a long distance dedication. I would imagine that's Casey Kasem. Didn't he do the long distance dedications?
That might be.
I
Yeah.
think so. I think so. And then Superauto 2K, the Harbor Freight Hercules FR.
That's the one. Yep.
Is the one you're going to be reviewing soon.
That's correct.
That is correct.
Yeah,
yes.
Green Hercules.
Yes. Harbor Freight Hercules.
It's still in the box. I need to get it out and play with it a little bit. We are going to tear it down and see how it's built. When you're looking at the internals of a polisher, you're looking at the field windings, if they're coated or not. You're looking at the commutator. You're looking at if there's epoxy that connect the field windings to the commutator itself and to the bearings to make sure that everything with all that vibration that goes on with the polisher stays together. You can also tell by the bearings if they're sealed, if they're Japanese bearings, what type of bearings there are, the wiring, the brass connector. There's so many things to look at with the internals of a polisher.
Yeah.
I always urge, no matter what polish you have, if you get one to replace it, keep that old one and tear it down and learn how to take them apart, guys. Learn how to change out the grease, learn how to service them. Because I don't care how good a polisher's reputation and warranty is. If you have a customer's car in the bay and a polisher breaks down, they're not going to care how great Rupees' warranty and service program is. They want their car done.
Right.
So it's your job to have a few polishers laying
sure.
around with parts.
No, I remember
them.
at my old job, like that would be, I bought this from you. It's broken. What do I do now? I have a job that I have to do. And it's just like, oh, well, we have to send it to Rupes. And, that's going to, in Italy, and that's going to take a couple of weeks.
And listen, their programs, their warranties, they're still fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about it.
Sure.
But, what are you going to do in the meantime?
Yeah, it takes time. Like, I'm sorry. It's not, I guess, Carazino, remember Steve Carazino?
Yep.
He came up and we hung out together a lot of times.
Yep.
He would say Amazon has ruined it for everybody. Amazon has just basically made it so that everybody thinks that they can have a result tomorrow. I want it now.
Yeah.
I need it now.
There's a reason behind I tried to urge people to repack their own grease and get rid of that crappy factory grease.
Sure.
They're learning to tear down a large portion of that polisher doing it.
Sure.
And a lot, since they had it torn down that far, why not tear it down the rest of the way? Look at the brushes, look at the internals, and they get to know their polisher that way. So I'm hoping it leads to being able to repair your polisher beyond just the grease.
There was something else that I wanted to say to you, and I can't remember.
It must have been that important.
No, it was. Everything that I say is important. It was pertaining to what we were just talking about, and now I'm
The polishers.
yeah, but now I'm spaced. It's the apple juice. It's got to be the apple juice.
It's got to be the apple juice.
Dee Dee, I don't see your shout out. I don't even. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So Paul Rogers is in the house. You know Paul Rogers, Florida. If we ever get divorced, I'm keeping him. Okay, I get to keep Paul Rogers in the divorce. That's what I was going to say. That's what was so important, that I get to keep Paul Rogers.
Okay.
Kills me. Great to know, because I like Apex coating with the sheeter, and would love to see the new one to play with the sheeter, since my customers loved its performance.
Yeah. So when we have the foundation layer, or the the 3 to 5 year sheeting coating, and then the topper to go with it, then you're just going to have a real strong, fast, strictly sheeting protected.
Oh, man. Dee Dee can just anyway. Tim says, do you replace all internal polisher grease with Lucas thick and tacky?
So I like the ball bearing grease. I like the grease that services parts that are quick moving, heat up. I'd rather have ball bearing grease over gear grease. And I know it's supposed to be the other way around, but I'm thinking of the grease protecting these gears that are just flying at high speeds and high temperatures, and the ball bearing grease, to me, does a better job. I love the lithium red Wolf's Head the best.
Do you keep it in your shop?
I have cases of it. Yeah.
Okay, good, because I'll be bringing my polisher with me next time I come.
And I'll show you how to do it.
I appreciate it, because, like I said, Village idiot.
It's just a couple different tricks to the different polishers. Some come apart differently. Some are a bit difficult and like to fight the way you tear them apart.
Makes it like the tax system acute sense. I don't even know what that. Nacho, I don't know what that means.
Tax systems.
Oh, he wants you to make it like tax systems acute sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's the protectant for interiors, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. It will definitely make the plastic or the leather look fantastic without a sheen whatsoever. It'll make it look darker, richer,
right,
new again, without any slickness, sheen, or it will not take away from the scent interiors. None of my protectants will take away from the scent. If you have a newer car that you love that leather smell, it won't change that. It won't be slick. You won't go on to break and slide up underneath the dash or anything. It won't change the appearance. It'll look and feel natural, but it'll definitely have UVA and UVB protection, unlike a lot of the products that boast that and don't have it.
Right. Okay. Well, again, since there's so much love to go around for everybody, Tim has asked, besides Phoenix E.O.D. products and your own personally, any products that have truly impressed you? I think Tim is just kind of getting started into the whole detailing game, and I know that he was testing a whole bunch of different stuff, and he's used a lot of my products, and he's really liked a lot of my products. But when you're new, my guess, again, one of my dadisms, he would always say, none of us know what we don't know.
So there are 3 that had a heavy influence on me detailing and then coming into the product line business. One, at both ends of the scales when it comes to cost. First of all, Nanoskin. Nanoskin, not a lot of people talk about them, but they have fantastic products that do what they're advertised to do at a great price. So that's great for those just starting out, and want to get their feet wet and just see if they like detailing to begin with, or get the first 3 years under their belt. Something that's a little bit more of an investment is going to be Gian. Gian uses polyxylazane as well, and I've tested I cannot think of one product from Gian that I've used and I've said, that's no good. I can't think of one.
Okay.
It's just a test. And I've never had any contact with them. I've never had a contact with 3D because I don't like all 3D's products, but their abrasives are great.
Mhm.
Their ACA, Alpha Ceramic Alumina abrasives, fantastic. And I haven't had contact with them either. It's
Which is weird because
weird.
A, as big as you are in the influence world,
That's subjective.
and B, because I mean, you promote, like, you use their products in so many videos. When I was working at the old place, that was your go-to product. I remember, go walking into your shop and you'd be like, well, until you can beat these guys.
Yeah, they're still at the top of the heap.
Yeah.
You go to my detailing rack, 3D ACA 500 is going to be there. The 520 finish is going to be there.
Yeah.
You're going to have pop cut. You're going to have fab. You're going to have those, and the rack only holds 4.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And that's, say, as the year goes by, I'm spending more time working on my business. So the two Brians are out there. That's what they're reaching for. So it's not just me.
Ryan Mulhern wants to know, how good is the grease that Griots uses in their polishers?
Better. It's better than that white, runny, just water grease that's in some of the.
I got a shine mate. You think it needs love?
I would, whether it's the black grease, the white grease, whatever grease is in there, I would still replace it with something you're comfortable with. It can make the polisher run smoother, quieter, and cooler. So that's going to help it a little bit last for you, especially if you use it on a daily basis.
Okay.
And you're learning how to care for your own polisher.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I mean, I don't do it on a daily basis, but like, you can ask like Tim from Shine Your Light. Remind me to give you those two bottles, the compound and the jeweler, if you will, to give to the two Bs when you get back tonight. I got to give you that because we're always playing and looking at new abrasives, different clays, synthetic abrasives, all kinds of fun stuff.
The research never stops. It can't stop.
E.O.D, man.
That's right.
Evolve or die.
Yes.
I know there's I know a guy that was like, I loved this compound, but I'd use it and the whole thing would just dust like insanity. And there's a person that I used to work for that believes, like this is the best one. And it's like, well, it's a good compound, but I mean, the residue that's left behind, the dusting that's left behind, it kind of makes it makes the process so much longer because you have to wash it and clean it and all that stuff before going to the next step.
Yeah, well, that's a pet peeve. Anybody that follows my channel knows that's a pet peeve of mine. When it creates more work and it's getting in the cracks where that just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I have to have a compound that has a long cycle time and is clean. Because again, getting back to the PPF, I know that's that's like a different world altogether compared to correction and sealants and coatings. But to have that environment within the same shop, you don't want to be doing correction and having dust flying everywhere.
Sure. I can imagine. Yeah.
That does not mix with.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that'd be horrible.
Yep.
Because I know the way that your shop is, you usually will have two cars pretty close to proxy. And if this guy's creating a dust cloud and this guy's trying to PPF,
we have it down to a science where we can correct next to where we're applying film, and it's perfectly clean in his.
Sure. No, I've watched you do it many times. I think I actually have a film where I'm just sitting around watching you work.
You might have a clip or two. I'll have to dig one of those out.
What are you doing? Oh, I'm just watching you work, B. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I have plenty of clips of the bees on their phones or extended lunch periods.
All right. So we are just about at the 1 hour mark. Like literally, it's 7:59. Right. We're going to wrap it up. But again, I want to reiterate, thank you so much for giving me an hour of your time. I know how busy you are. Your phone. He showed me his phone today from just the drive from his shop to my shop, and there was at least, and I mean, I'm not even exaggerating, there was at least 30 phone calls from all over Canada and all over the country, ringing your phone. So I know that you're a busy guy, so I appreciate the hour.
I truly do I try to get back to everyone that I can, but I take their calls.
I know you do.
It's not a machine. It's not a crew. It's not a staff. It's me. I find that important. I don't know how long I can do that.
Yeah. Your son actually called me today to get a hold of you because you were on the phone doing what you were doing.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it was awesome. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my mentor and teaching me so much. I know I joke about just sitting around watching you, but I mean, just sitting around watching you, I learned so many things.
It didn't sound creepy at all.
No, not at all. What are you doing? Nothing. My hands are here.
I want to do this again and cover correction and polishing and things, relatable.
You can do that next week at the Southern Detailers Conference.
Right. In person. You can watch him, learn from him. You can have him instruct you of what you're doing right and probably doing wrong. He'll be there for 2 days, unabridged. Ask him anything you want. Tell him anything you want. It's awesome. And that goes the same for all 4 horsemen. They are unbelievably, I cannot fathom and I cannot express the gratitude that I have of these 4 gentlemen that have graciously given me their friendship and giving me their guidance and their encouragement and their motivation. And then to join me, away from family and away from friends and away from their job that is, busting at the seams, to come down and hang out with me for a couple of days, hang out with you for a couple of days. It's an honor that I will spend the rest of my life trying to repay. So anyway, on behalf of Brian Spitler from Apex Detail and Phoenix E.O.D, I want to thank every single buddy that's tuned in and has watched us, and hopefully we contributed to your life. Thank you. I love all you guys out there.
Yeah, thanks so much. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see you in Louisville, Kentucky next week.